Hello everyone, and welcome to an Enshrouded build video. Today I am going to be building the hunter's cabin. I chose to do it in this space next to our carpenter. Luckily there's not too much terraforming to do. All I need to do is remove a few rocks and a couple of trees. If you guys have not seen the storage room, this is it. I'll also leave a link in the card in the top right if you want to go see how this was built. A lot of people have been asking me in the comments, where do I get all of my materials from? I don't farm them. I get them from a PRW, a public resource world that is updated and kept stocked by the Lindsay Gaming. I will put a link to their channel in the description down below. Go and give them a big hug. Tell them Solden sent you to give them some love. This PRW has been invaluable while building. With all the blocks I needed in my pockets, it was time to start building. I decided to use just flat pieces, just to plan out the floor, because I wasn't actually very sure what I was going to be building just yet. I knew I wanted a smaller inside than usual, with a smaller outside too. I ended up going with the classic L shape, but I did decide that my outside section would not be a full section. I wanted my inside for my hunter to have some seating room and also wall room for all the trophies. Talking about walls though, it took me a little while to decide what I wanted to do with them. I had been practicing a little bit before this, but even that didn't really help. Everything I was trying with the granite just wasn't speaking to me. I decided to pull things down, start over. I put in my pillars around each corner where there needed to be a support, and decided that I would just begin. I started putting in some small walls and just let my creativity take over. There is quite a few times where I change my mind, either on placement or height, but one thing I was sure of was that I wanted to use the confer wood with the granite. The only thing I really don't like is the little lips that the confer wood puts when you put it directly on top of a piece. So what I did was I inset it by one block off. It did create a little bit of a gap on the inside, but it gave a nice little bit of depth as well. I finally, eventually, decided on how deep I wanted the stone walls to be, or how short rather. Placed up my confer and started to actually get on with the build. I decided that I would not do a single floor. I would definitely need a second floor for the bedroom, where we're going to put our bed for our hunter. And I think it works out really nicely in the end. I decided to keep the confer wood going all the way up instead of having like a ceiling separator, just like we did with the carpenter's house where we had the high empty ceilings. took a little bit of time, but eventually we were getting the layout to come together. But after putting in the bedroom area at the top and having a look at what I had on the bottom, I decided I needed to extend my inside just a little bit more. While I was busy with the upstairs putting walls in, I had an idea for this corner. I wanted to do something experimental, so I decided for a window, I was gonna go big. I decided to do a nice big diamond shape inside of the two walls that were making up this section. Kept them symmetrical as close as I possibly could, and then emptied them out. The whole time I was doing this, I was thinking to myself, if this is not good, I'm gonna have to remove the rest of it block by block by block. Please, let this come out good. With both sides symmetrical and ready, I began emptying. It was a big hole in the wall, but it was a hole that I thought looked amazing. It was going to look really good once I could find the right frames to go in there. But with that, it was back to building up and getting the rest of the house ready for decoration. With all the walls and floor layout done, it was time for our favorite, not so favorite, part of building. Now I know what you're thinking. Here's the part where Solden just complains about not being able to build a roof. But I am happy to announce that I'm actually getting a little bit better at this part. Not great, and definitely not a first time round builder yet, but I think with all the practice we've had on the barn especially, it really shined through here. I was able to get the roof done way quicker than I thought I would. on the outside section of the house, I knew I was going to be putting my crafting pieces there, and running around, noticing it was actually only one block, I decided to extend it by another one because I know that the hunter actually has quite a few crafting tools attached to her profession. So I made this part a little bit bigger so we could fit everything in, and then I went on to framing the walls of the house, the walls and the doorways, that is. I put in some supports in places that were missing it, some walls that were still missing as well. Then I shortened the little balcony banisters that I had made and filled them in. And it was pretty much almost time to start placing things down. I was really happy with the big open space that we had. Very excited to see what it turned out to look like. Lots of open walls too, so I was definitely going to be able to fit the trophies in. I was quite happy with what the wall design actually ended up being. And I was pretty much ready to start getting everything in place. It was, however, here where I realized, even though I had that one big hole, I had not put any windows in. So I began windowing. There were a few extra bits and bobs that I needed to do around the house, but it was ready. It was time to start moving in decorations, furniture, and eventually our huntress. I went with these wooden frames for the hole in the wall. I don't even know if we can call it a window really. But I must be honest, when I put these in, I wasn't super happy. I decided to start placing all the other bits and pieces before I came back and looked for something new to try there. I used all kinds of decorations for the hunter's house. I ended up using these large chests for counters inside the kitchen space. I did this as well in the farmer's house, but I actually faced them the other way. This time I decided to have them face inwards. Put down a lot of candles and a lot of light because it was quite dark in there even with our hole. You can see here that I changed out those wooden frames, and I actually am a lot more happy with the twiggy frames that we decided to put in there. The final touches were all the trophies and a couple of weapons so that you could see our huntress meant business. All of the crafting stations, not all of them outside, some of them inside. And we were ready to move her in. I am over the moon on how this build came out. I love the inside of it. I think the only thing I might have done differently was a wooden flooring, but the granite still looks really good. The outside, it's not flat, it's got a little bit of depth, it's got shape where it matters, and man, I really love this build. Especially my big hole in the wall. We had a bedroom, we had our living area and a kitchen, all the crafting stations, everything ready to call this one done. If you enjoyed this video, please leave me a comment down below and tell me what you do differently, or which building you're looking forward to most. I'm building an entire village. There's a playlist there as well, so have a look. Next up, I'm thinking of doing a tavern, or I could start on my tower. Either way, I'll see you next time.